You may notice that whenever I review a gacha game, it always features the red thumbs down from Steam, accompanied with the text, "Not recommended." You might think it's simply because I hate gacha games, or that I'm trying to rage bait potential viewers for engagement and growth on the platform. While I certainly engineer my video's title and thumbnail to be as clickable as possible, after all, I wouldn't be a good YouTuber if I didn't, that doesn't mean that I'm lying about the quality of the games I review, or that I'm expressing opinions that aren't my own. But to truly explain to you why I do this, we have to start from the beginning. Before starting this channel, there were a number of concepts I iterated on for the content I would make. The idea that gained the most momentum in production was a review of Genshin Impact. But it wasn't because I wanted to review the game for the sake of reviewing it. I had noticed something strange, almost paradoxical about Genshin that I wanted to talk about. You see, up until this point, the recommendations I would make to family and friends followed a fairly simple rule. If I liked it, and I thought they would like it, I'd recommend it. And if I didn't, then I wouldn't. Genshin was the exception to this rule. I had come to love many aspects of it, from the gameplay, to the soundtrack, to its world and characters. I do genuinely think that in a lot of ways, Genshin meets the standards for what you could consider a good game. However, I am also aware that gacha games are inherently predatory. No matter how you slice it, the concept of a gacha game leverages the human psyche in the name of profit. While Genshin is certainly less egregious than other gacha games in many ways, it still preys on FOMO and employs other tricks in order to generate its ludicrous revenue stream. And so, I found myself in a perplexing situation. Here, I had a game that I liked, and that I thought others might enjoy, but that I could not in good conscience recommend. That is why the title of my original review was "The Best Game You Should Never Play." It was how I encapsulated this phenomenon into the most intriguing statement I could come up with. I've made jokes about it in the past, but the truth of it is, I honestly consider playing, and especially spending money on, gacha games to be a guilty pleasure and a personal vice of mine. I know that by engaging with, financially supporting, or even making content about these games is by and large to their benefit. Just by reviewing these games, I am essentially advertising them, even if they aren't sponsored by the actual developers. So if I am to a degree perpetuating an industry that is built off of the exploitation of its players, the least I can do is to try and go about it in the most ethical manner possible. Now, the purpose of this video is not to shame anyone for playing these games. I'm just some random schmuck on the internet. Who am I to forbid somebody from partaking in something that they enjoy that doesn't harm others? That having been said, gambling addiction is very real, and it can hurt you, just like any other kind of addiction. And I do not want to be the reason someone winds up financially ruining themselves. This is the reason why I have a hard stance with all of my reviews. I will never recommend a gacha game. I cannot guarantee that everyone who watches my videos will be able to handle playing the game in a responsible manner, nor can I guarantee that everyone who sees my content aren't vulnerable to gambling addiction or have any of the other vulnerabilities that gacha games prey upon. If there's anything I can count on, it's that online media comprehension is dead, and nuance will never survive the discourse. So rather than say yes, and then have to immediately qualify that with disclaimers about how you should engage with it responsibly and should avoid it if you know you're prone to addictive behaviors, it is far safer to instead say, no, I do not recommend playing gacha games. Finding success on my very first video was both a blessing and in some ways a curse. Establishing an audience online first requires focus. I'm sure many of you are here because you liked my video about a particular game, or you like watching content about gacha games in general. Whatever the case may be, the fact of the matter is, as of right now when people click on my channel, they expect more content about gacha games. And to be honest, it could be worse. I'm already immensely happy that I have the latitude to talk about multiple games. Some creators are stuck with making videos about a singular game or family of games. I've chosen the topics of my videos deliberately with the intent of establishing this channel as one that isn't bound to any one game, And eventually, I intend to establish it as one that isn't bound to gacha games either. But that will come later. What I do want you to know is this. When I review a gacha game, you can count on it being my honest opinion. I will do my best to give you an idea of what it's like to experience the game, or at the very least, what my experience with the game was. Ideally, my videos can even serve as a substitute for playing gacha games. This is why I have no issues going into spoilers and covering all of a gacha game's story content. And maybe, if this channel becomes large enough to be made into a full-on career, I could go even further beyond. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my content and you want to know how to help grow the community, simply subscribing and sharing my videos with people you think would like them is the best way you can show your support. This has been Codename Vermilion. End of report.